Thanks for joining me again. Today is going to be a bit of a continuation from yesterday's video because what has happened in recent days has had a huge impact on me, and a lot has gone on in my mind. I've had lots of thoughts and revelations, and I'm actually feeling really optimistic and very positive about what's gone through my mind and some conclusions that I've come to in the last day or so. And it all takes time to unravel. Those of you who are with narcissists know everything gets cloudy, everything gets foggy, and it's hard to sort things out because you're so distracted by the negativity. It just controls you. I don't have to rehash all of that. But some of what I'm going to say might sound a little bit crazy. I think I've mentioned maybe in a couple of videos back that as of late I feel like I have been getting signs from my father, who passed a year ago in February, who I was very close to, who I miss greatly. And it just occurred to me this afternoon after getting up this morning and feeling really good and optimistic and letting John know that in spite of everything that happened in the last couple of days, that I was in a really good mood, and I had an appointment to see my therapist, and I told him I really don't want to go there and talk about all this stuff because it's going to ruin my mood. And he said, tell her that, let her know that. And I didn't want to go and ruin the mood. We were out with friends last night, and we had a good evening. And so I was able to control it, and I figured out what allowed me to do that. And something happened last night that I think may have some relevance. Some of you might agree, some of you maybe not. But we came home. I was pretty tired. I was out like light. And this morning, John said that my dog, little Winnie, here she is. Here's Winnie, my little Chihuahua. She's my little princess, and she goes everywhere with us, and she was very close to my dad. She laid by his side in his bed in his last days, and he absolutely adored her. Was always holding her when she was around. She traveled with me, and he just loved her to pieces. And she is quiet as a mouse, never barks. She only barks if she hears the doorbell. That's it. And he said that last night she woke up in the middle of the night facing the bedroom door and barked. And the first thing that came to my mind, and I told him, I said, that means someone was here. He said, in the house? He thought I was crazy. And I said, not physically. And so when I shared that story with my daughter, the first thing she said was, somebody was there. And she was on the same page with me, and we shared this, and I shared this with my therapist. And it just dawned on me within the last hour, I truly believe that my dad paid me a visit last night, and that's why I had so much clarity today. I felt so positive today. I felt so optimistic today about the situation before me and about the things that are happening, about my mother's betrayal, about how to deal with the narcissist and the things that he's doing through the attorneys and trying to keep me at bay and just make the entire process difficult. I really feel that somehow he reached out to me and brought some clarity for me. And I told my therapist today that at some point during our marriage, I severed myself from him emotionally. I knew he was not an emotional support. I knew he wasn't invested emotionally in our marriage, and I had to accept that. Those of you who are with a narcissist, man or woman, you know there is no emotion. You know you're the only one expending that type of energy, and it gets tiring and it wears you down and you run out. And so I think I severed myself emotionally and said I'm not going to give it to him anymore. I went through the motions, of course, and I gave of myself to my children and my parents and my job and everything that I had to do, and I still took care of him. I did everything I could for him, and I tried to be a good wife and fulfill that role. But emotionally, I didn't invest in him anymore. And so I think that helped me when I decided to leave, because there was no emotional tie, there was no emotional bond. And so this light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, I have to separate myself emotionally from the situation happening right now. I can't have these meltdowns. I can't have these breakdowns. I can't spend hours crying and venting because my mom's betraying me, because, you know, he's making my life so difficult, because they're now in touch with each other and they're in cahoots, and they're basically going to team up to make me miserable. I can't allow that to infiltrate my life and what I have, because what I have now, what I have with John, is really good. The relationship that I have with my daughter is very good. It's positive and it's thriving. The relationship that I have with my oldest son, with his girlfriend, those things are all good and positive, and we're happy when we're together, and we don't miss the negativity that was just this hovering cloud anytime we were together. And so I have to be able to separate myself, and the way I plan on doing that is to sever myself emotionally. And I'll have to do that by any means possible, you know, through cognitive behavioral therapy, through prayer, through whatever it takes. And everybody's process will be different. But for me, I realized that I severed myself emotionally from the narcissist, and I don't miss him. I don't miss that relationship. I don't miss his presence, and just him alone as a person, he wouldn't affect me. The only reason he's having an effect on me is because he's making my life difficult through means of the divorce. And my mother is affecting me because she's making things difficult for me through means of the divorce. And she made my life difficult by turning it completely upside down in past months, earlier in the year, when my father obviously entrusted me with the family business, and she pulled that rug out from underneath me. That's a story for another video. But yeah, basically it's just been months of betrayal, and I'm extremely happy with John. He treats me right. I had some questions about our relationship posed to me. No, he's not a narcissist. No, he was not exposed to a narcissist. He's just a loving, compassionate person, and he cares about me. I'm not leery. I was on guard in the beginning. I had a lot of doubt. I had a lot of insecurities. Again, he's never given me reason to question any of those things, and I'm very secure in our relationship. But no, for those of you who might think it's so wonderful, and I'm maybe blinded by a love bombing phase that is typical of narcissists, there's not a narcissistic bone in his body. As a matter of fact, he's very much like my father. And people say we marry our fathers. Well, I don't know what happened the first time around. You got me there. But he is very much like my father, very disciplined and respectful, and he's in the military, he's a pilot, all of those things, and he's a man of his word. My father was a man of his word. The narcissist was not a man of his word. With me, with our children. And I asked him one day, and I said, you basically just lie all the time. You say things, you say you're going to do things, you make these plans, and it just all goes by. I said, doesn't it bother you that you're not a man of your word? And he looked me square in the eye and said, no. You're only as good as your word. I don't understand that. I mean, when he said that to me, I was completely baffled. And as time went on, that was sort of close to the end there, near me leaving him. And when I would ask him questions like that, very pointed questions, they dodge everything. They never answer any questions. You ask them a question and they say, you're crazy, here we go again, or they, answer with a question. but that was very pointed, and it didn't faze him. And I thought, there's something really wrong with this guy. This guy really, really has some screws loose, because you're only as good as your word. And my father was a man of his word, and John is a man of his word. And that's something that I respect greatly. That is something that I hold in a very high regard, because when he tells me something, I believe it. When he tells me he's going to do something, I know it's going to happen. When he says, sure, I'll take you, somewhere, I know I'm going. It's done. It's as good as done. And so no, I'm not with a narcissist. I'm not someone who was exposed to a narcissist or has narcissistic tendencies. He's very intelligent. He's tried to educate himself on what narcissists are like, so that he can help me, so that he can have an understanding of what I'm dealing with and who it is that I'm dealing with. And again, just very, very supportive. But please keep the questions coming. I don't mind them at all. I'm never opposed or offended or anything by any of the questions that I receive. It helps me a lot to have feedback and to have people watching and giving me your feedback and your comments and your questions. Again, I hope that this is a community and that we're helping each other. To me, it helps me to know that I am addressing people who hopefully understand me. With the comments that I've received, I believe you do understand. I believe you do relate, and you know exactly where I'm coming from. And it's good to know that. I have wonderful support. I have people that love me, but they can't relate the way we do. They can't relate as a victim. I hate that word. They can't relate from that side of things. And for those of you who are or were in a relationship with a narcissist, you do understand and you do get it. And so I appreciate you reaching out and giving me your thoughts. And I appreciate you listening to mine. I am really going to strive to make more videos and make them on a more regular basis. It helps me a lot. It makes me feel good when I do this. Again, because I'm reaching out to some people who understand. In my first handful of videos, well, I think it all started with the video when I went to the house. I came before the camera and I was an absolute mess. I had this idea in my head that my hair, my makeup, and earrings. This is my at-home look. No makeup, hair in a bun, just comfortable. And I always like to put my best foot forward. And as you know, when you are with a narcissist, especially for women who are with a narcissistic man, they're very critical of you, and you feel like you absolutely have to pull yourself together and put your best look together on a daily basis so that there is no criticism or with the hopes that maybe you'll get noticed. And so I don't feel that way with John. I still try to look my best. He deserves that. I feel good when I look my best, but I'm not going to avoid making a video if I don't have myself put together, because I don't want to put this off. It's important to me, and if you're watching, it's important to you. And honestly, this is an exercise for me. It's an exercise in confidence. There was a time when I never would have dreamed of letting anybody see me this way, because I didn't have the confidence to do it. I was so torn down by the narcissist that I just couldn't dream of letting anybody see me this way, because even when I looked my best, I still felt like I didn't look good. So I'm not going to put off making videos if my hair's a mess or I don't have makeup on. So hopefully I don't scare off any viewers or subscribers. But this is important to me. This is very important to me, and I do want to share. But I felt really good about the conclusion that I came to today, that separating myself emotionally from them, and I managed to do it with him. I managed to do it in my marriage. So I think I can do this. I think I can handle this and somehow come to a place where I separate myself emotionally, and when I have to deal with it, it's almost like a business transaction or some sort of a negotiation, which I happen to be not too bad at. Hopefully I can do that, because I have no feelings for him. My family's making it very easy for me to not have feelings for them. My mother has betrayed me on the worst possible level. So I need to separate and protect myself. I have a good life here. I need to enjoy it. Someone commented that I've shed some light on some things, and that life is too short to spend 10, 15, 20 years with somebody that you know will never have a healthy relationship, that you know won't make you happy, that will not return the love that you give. Good for you. Good for you that you're getting out of that. If the person that you're with has narcissistic qualities or tendencies or any of the things that I've described, I'm really sorry to tell you, they will not change. They will not change. And yes, life is too short. Life is much too short to be unhappy, to sacrifice yourself and to be with somebody who doesn't make you feel your absolute best, who doesn't bring out your best qualities all of the time, not just once in a while, not just once you've had a breakdown or you're crying or you're upset. That is so patronizing. I had to have a complete breakdown, meltdown for him to say, I'll try a little harder. And I never got an I'm sorry. They're never sorry. It was so patronizing. I hated it. I just hated that feeling, and I haven't felt like that since. So life's too short to spend it unhappy. I spent a lot of time worrying about what people would think, what people would say, how my family would take it, neighbors, friends, blah, 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 blah. I don't care anymore. I hope that all they see now is that I'm happy, that I'm a happy woman, that I'm constantly smiling and laughing, and that I'm with someone who loves me and cares about me and protects me and would do anything to keep me from being harmed and not hurt me. He's not the one hurting me. That's what I used to have. The person that I was with, the person that I shared a bed with, shared a life with, he was the only one hurting me. He was the only person in my life hurting me and disrespecting me. I had respect from everybody. I had respect from my father. I had respect from our staff. I had respect from people that I dealt with in business. The only person that didn't respect me was my husband. That makes no sense. And if you're in that situation, you need to get out. So I do have a new perspective. I do have a fresh new view on things, and I can only hope that I have the fortitude, the intestinal fortitude to keep this going and to keep it my focus, because they don't deserve my tears. They don't deserve my energy. They don't deserve those outbursts that they bring me to. And when I say they, I mean the narcissist and my mother. They're the only people that brought that out in me. Once I left him, she was the only other person that would do that to me, that would get me into a shouting, screaming rage. And I couldn't understand it. And now I do. I will share that. We'll get there. We will get there. And I still plan on sharing some of the emails or the, some things that he wrote, exchanges that we had, because it will sound familiar. And if it's not familiar because you've already read it, when you hear it, you know what to look for, because it's just all, it's all made up. It's just a mask. They just need to keep you around so that you inflate their ego. Don't forget, we're human helium tanks here to inflate their egos. That's our purpose in life. That used to be my purpose in life, and it's not anymore. And I couldn't be happier that I'm no longer a human helium tank. I have better things to do. So I will share that. Please keep your comments and your questions coming. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I'm here for you. Hopefully we're all here for each other. We need this desperately. People just don't recognize this as a serious type of abuse. I know that the legal system doesn't, that's for sure. And it's a shame, because if they did, the situation that I'm in would probably be very different it would be viewed differently and there would be a different angle taken. But somehow, I'm just like every other person, no big deal. It's just not recognized, and that's a shame, and it needs to be, especially for those of you who are in a situation where you're going to leave and you have young children. That's something that I can't even begin to imagine. And hopefully you get the right people in your corner for help, for therapy, legal advice, legal guidance, you know, whatever it is you may need if you're going to go through that process. So thanks for watching. We'll get to some more on the narcissist and all of his empty lies and words and promises in the next video. Thanks again.